I'm going to put this again on the dads. One of the things I have seen across the board with the most confident young women that I know, who have really strong, positive body image, they have strong self-esteem, they um, know who they are, they're unapologetic Muslims. One of the things I've seen across the board with all of these young women is that they have very, very strong, positive relationships with their fathers. And the fathers have been investing in their daughters from a very young age. And I know of a young girl who her dad has taken her out to brunch once a week since she was a little girl. And when she was little, some maybe there was no big exciting conversations, but it was time just being spent together. Now the daughter's in college and she openly will tell her dad if she has a crush on a guy or if she's interested in somebody or if she's got questions about marriage proposals that are coming her way. And the dad is, being taken into confidence. And one of the things this young woman once told me is that had a big impact on her is she once felt uncomfortable around a certain uncle in the community, and that uncle was a good friend of her father's. And she just mentioned it to her dad. The uncle hadn't done anything, it was just kind of a sixth sense that she felt around him. And she told her dad that, I just feel uncomfortable around Uncle so and so or whatever. And she expected her dad to defend him, to tell her not to think like that, to not, make any kind of assumptions. But instead, she said her father said to her, always trust your instincts when it comes to men. And that really had a huge impact on her. And so there have been valuable conversations happening with the father over the years. But getting back to the original point, these young women who I admire who don't seem to be following the greater trend of like wanting to change the way they look and wanting to use 100 different filters before they post a picture and worrying about what guys think about them. Across the board, these young women have very strong relationships with their fathers. And if there isn't a father in the picture, um, they have an uncle or an older brother or a grandfather, somebody who takes time out to be with them, and the mother has made sure that there is a strong father figure in the daughter's life. And Dr. Leonard Sachs talks about this in the book Girls on the Edge. He said that girls in high school who don't engage in premarital sexual relations, who don't engage in risky behaviors, who don't engage in drug experimentation, smoking cigarettes, he said across the board what those girls had in common was they had a father who showed up to all of their events. A father who showed up to their spelling bees and their sporting events and their, cheerleading tryouts, whatever. So same thing, if there isn't a father, then an uncle or a grandfather or an older brother, somebody who's a mentor to the young woman, letting her know that she's valued. Oh yeah, I have a friend who grew up in a small town where there weren't many Muslims, and she and her siblings um, grew up to be amazing Muslims, mashallah. And her father was a very pious man who every town he ever lived in, he would build a masjid there, and very respected in the community. And I asked her once, how was it that you and your siblings grew up to be such amazing Muslims, considering that you grew up in this little town where there were no Muslims around you, pretty much. How did you not get sucked in by the siren call of the culture around you? And she said, I love this quote of hers. She said, when you feel love in the home, you don't look for it anywhere else. When you feel love in the home, you don't look for it anywhere else. And she felt that love from a strong male figure in her life.